I have two guitarists, bass player, singer, and a drum player,
We're all trying to get to the same
I don't know
place,
which is which.
We're all trying to get to that sense. Nobody can take the ball and run with it like us. We can dump it off and let him run. We're unselfish.
You were the Golden State Warriors, right? On any night can be the lead man to drop 50, a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan to run the shit.
Like he said, we're a shield from injustice.
Yeah.
Believe in the shield.
Believe in the shield!
Man, looking back, The Shield is one of the most successful groups in WWE history. Their story is still being mentioned to this day, and all the members have been world champions, and world champions in different companies like New Japan and AEW too. But how did we get here? Well, I'm gonna take y'all back, let's get it. So The Shield would debut at Survivor Series on November 18th, interfering in the triple threat main event between CM Punk, Ryback, and John Cena for the WWE Championship, allowing CM Punk to pin Cena to retain the title. So NXT was a thing in that time, and Seth Rollins was the NXT champion, but it wasn't really like that important, and nobody really knew about it at that point, so they were kind of like randoms. But they definitely made a big impact, instantly interfering in the main event. On the November 26th episode of Raw, the group identified themselves as a Shield and vowed to rally against the injustices, despite claiming that they were not working for either Punk or his manager Paul Heyman. Over the next few weeks on both Raw and SmackDown, they routinely emerged from the crowd to attack Punk's ops. So CM Punk basically got some goons, he got some hitmen, and it kind of worked out. But this would all lead to the Shield's debut match at TLC against Ryback and Team Hell No, and this match was pretty good, and it was in the TLC match. I remember some of the moves they pulled where someone was on Roman's shoulders, and then Seth went to the top rope and did like a knee drop, and then they like pushed him off. That was cool. I remember Ryback just died. He fell from like a high-ass ladder to a bunch of tables. I remember this match being fun. And after TLC, they would continue their wrath and path to be menaces, attacking people like Ric Flair, Brodus Clay, Sheamus, Mick Foley, Tommy Dreamer, and Ricardo Rodriguez. What y'all know about Ricardo Rodriguez? He carried Alberto Del Rio. And while they were doing the main roster stuff, they were also doing stuff on NXT. Rollins would be facing Corey Graves in the NXT match, but Ambrose and Reigns attacked Graves and caused a DQ so that Rollins could retain his title. And after the match, the Shield then fended off the entire NXT locker room, but retreated from Big E. And on the January 9th episode of NXT, which was taped on the same day, Rollins lost the NXT Championship to Big E in a no DQ match after the NXT locker room neutralized the interference of other Shield members. On the January 7th episode of Raw, the Shield once again helped CM Punk by attacking Ryback during the TLC match for the WWE Championship, which ended in Punk retaining the title. On the 21st episode of Raw, the Shield attacked The Rock, Punk's WWE Championship contender at the Royal Rumble, resulting in Vince McMahon declaring that their interference on the title match would result in Punk being stripped of the championship. So if they were to interfere in the match, Punk would get stripped immediately. And it was also probably weird because this was the first time that Roman met The Rock, by the way, storyline wise. But 4 days later on SmackDown, Punk denied an alliance with the Shield before calling them out and informing them that he did not want them to interfere in his upcoming title match. And however, during Punk's title match at the Royal Rumble on January 27th, during the blackout, The Rock was attacked by the Shield in the darkness, and when the lights came back on, he had been put through the announce table, leading to Punk pinning The Rock and retaining the championship. But the match was restarted when Vince McMahon came out, and he restarted the whole match. And this match was actually pretty fire, I'm not gonna lie. The promo leading up to it was pretty good, but I don't know, man. I feel like the whole setup with him versus Cena at Mania, I feel like it should have been a triple threat match for the title, but maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But I don't think we should have saw it once in a lifetime, twice over. I mean, it probably did great sales and everything, but storyline wise, I don't know, it just didn't make any sense. But yeah, The Rock would win that match, and the following night on Raw, it was revealed through footage played by Vince McMahon that Punk's manager Paul Heyman had been paying the Shield and Brad Maddox to work for him all along. Bro, who remembers Brad Maddox, bro? He was getting down and dirty with Paige, but he was a bum, bro. I don't know how he pulled Paige. But on the January 28th episode of Raw, the Shield attacked John Cena, as well as Sheamus and Ryback when they attempted to save Cena. And the next week on Raw, Maddox called out the Shield and revealed that he was the one who had given McMahon the footage showing that they worked for Heyman. And he basically just exposed himself as a snitch, bro, I'm gonna be honest. But the Shield will go down and dirty, stomp him out, and attack Brad Maddox. But the Shield justified their attacks due to a decade of injustice caused by Cena. This set up a 6-man tag team match on February 17th at Elimination Chamber, which the Shield won. They continued their feud against Sheamus, having several matches against him, including a 6-man tag team match at WrestleMania 29, where the Shield defeated him, Randy Orton, and The Big Show. On the April 8th episode of Raw, the Shield attempted to attack The Undertaker, but were forced to retreat by Team Hell No. This led to a match where the Shield defeated the combination of the Birds of Destruction and Team Hell No, which was Undertaker, Kane, and Daniel Bryan. on the April 22nd episode of Raw. And on the April 26th episode of SmackDown, Ambrose made a singles debut against The Undertaker and lost via submission, but after the match, the Shield attacked Undertaker. So Dean Ambrose lost in a singles match, but as a group, they were still undefeated. And then Ambrose started a feud with the United States champion Kofi Kingston, and then he would win the title at Extreme Rules. At the same event, Rollins and Reigns defeated Team Hell No to win the tag team championships. So now, all three members of the group had titles. And I remember back in the day being a kid watching this, it was just crazy. Whenever their music would hit, the dun you know shit was about to go down. And I absolutely hated them, but when they were turning face, I loved them. You couldn't help it but love them. And in like the 2K14 days, oh my God, I would go on Community Creations, download all the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins renders. And honestly, I love Dean too, man. In my opinion, the group went Dean, Roman, and Seth as the best three. But Seth's curb stomp, it put him over the top. I'm gonna be honest. His finisher was so dope. It was one of the best finishing moves of all time and still is to this day. So they all brought their own thing to the group. Like Roman Reigns was the powerhouse, Dean Ambrose was like the talker, and Seth Rollins was the architect and the high flyer. And from May to August, it was just a takeover NXT type shit. But the Shield defended their championships against several opponents. Ambrose faced Kingston, Kane, and even Rob Van Dam, while Rollins and Reigns faced Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, the Usos, and more. On the June 14th episode of SmackDown, the Shield's unpinned, unsubmitted streak and televised six-man tag team matches came to an end at the hands of Team Hell No and Randy Orton when Bryan submitted Rollins. They had their own little swag though. Dean was like the Looney Tune nutcase, Roman was like just the powerhouse badass, and Seth was just the guy that was like the architect and the mastermind, the high flyer. Like they all had their own auras. But on the August 19th episode of Raw, the Shield began working for Triple H and aiding WWE Champion, the face of WWE, Randy Orton against his rival Daniel Bryan, while also attacking wrestlers like The Big Show for speaking out against Triple H's regime. At Night of Champions, the Shield had successful title defenses when Ambrose defeated Ziggler, while Rollins and Reigns defeated the primetime players. Millions of dollars. Bro, the tag team scene, and honestly, wrestling was so bad in like the 2013 era. It really picked up for me at around like 2014 and 2015 and 2016. But in 2012 and 2013, it was just so bad. Like looking back, I know the nostalgia's there, but like during the actual shows, I don't know, bro. I just feel like something was missing. They didn't have enough stars. I don't know what it was, but it just wasn't hitting. But let's get my rambling out the way. The Shield will get into a feud with Cody Rhodes and Goldust. Honestly, this is one of the better feuds of the year. So what happened was, Cody Rhodes and Goldust got fired, and they tried to get their jobs back, so they would have a match with the Shield at Battleground. Honestly, got to be one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen in my life, but it was also a non-title match, and Dusty Rhodes showed up and everything. It was just a feel-good moment. If the title's on the line, I feel like it would have been a little bit better, but nonetheless, it was an amazing match. Cody and Goldust would end up winning that match and getting their jobs back. On the September 23rd episode of Raw, the Shield lost an 11-on-3 handicap elimination match. On the October 14th episode of Raw, Reigns and Rollins lost the WWE Tag Team Championships to the Road Brothers in a no DQ match interference after the Big Show. This was when they tried to give the Big Show the yes movement. I don't know what was going on Raw, bro. I don't know what they were thinking. I think he was supposed to be like Daniel Bryan's mascot or something. I don't know, bro. But the yes movement was going crazy. Anyways, at Hell in a Cell on October 27th, Rollins and Reigns lost a triple threat tag team match for WWE Tag Team Championships against the Rhodes Brothers and the Usos, while Ambrose retained the championship after a count-out loss to Big E Langston. And yeah, that's when Big E Langston had that name. I think around that time he was just splitting up from Dolph Ziggler, maybe? Yeah, that sounds right. So now, here we were. They lost their titles, and Dean is the only one in the group left for the title. And the first seeds of dissension were sown in the Shield, with Ambrose talking all that rah-rah, being the only member in the group left for the championship. But from then on, Ambrose was frequently pinned during the Shield's matches. At Survivor Series on November 24th, the Shield teamed up with the Real Americans, which was Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger, to defeat the team of Rey Mysterio, the Rhodes Brothers, and the Usos in a Survivor Series tag team match, with Ambrose being the first man eliminated. So it was like a weird kind of dissension in the ranks, where Ambrose kept getting pinned in the matches, but he was still the only one with the championship, so it kind of balanced out. In late November, they started a feud with CM Punk, the guy who brought them in, leading to a handicap match between the Shield and CM Punk at TLC on December 15th, which Punk won after capitalizing on the Shield's lack of coordination after Ambrose was accidentally speared by Reigns. So going into 2014, Punk's taunts increased tension between the Shield members, and Roman was the only one to beat Punk in the ones. So Punk was running ones with all the Shield, but Roman was the only one to beat him. And then all three members of the Shield competed in the 2014 Royal Rumble match, and Ambrose tried to eliminate Reigns, who retaliated by eliminating both Ambrose and Rollins. And Roman Reigns also set a Royal Rumble record for eliminating 12 people during the match. And this is when people actually wanted Roman to win the Rumble. He was the up-and-comer, he was the second person, but Batista ended up winning. And what a change from 2014 to 2015. In 2014, he was getting cheers. In 2015, they were bringing out the pitchforks. On the January 27th episode of Raw, the Shield faced a team of Daniel Bryan, John Cena, and Sheamus in a 6-man tag team qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but lost by DQ after the Wyatt family interfered. And yes, at this time, the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship were unified. So what does that mean, chat? It means that, I love your mother, it means that the two titles were together. But the Shield wanted revenge against the Wyatt family, so a match was set up between the Shield and the Wyatt family. But meanwhile, on the February 10th episode of Raw, Ambrose's open challenge for the United States title was answered by Mark Henry, with Ambrose retaining by DQ due to the Shield's interference, and Reigns defeated Henry without interference. So they had that stigma of Dean couldn't get the job done, but the others can. But Dean had the only title in the group, so it was like, is he the weak link or no? Because he has the only title. But say in the backseat of your Rover that I... Oh, my bad. Concert. My halftime show. Yeah, halftime show for the chat, you know what I'm saying? Boom, 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 I'm such an idiot. I'm so sorry. At Elimination Chamber on February 23rd, the Shield lost to the Wyatt family as Ambrose and Bray Wyatt brought into the crowd, but Wyatt later returned to the ring with no sign of Ambrose, which caused Rollins and Reigns to be outnumbered and overwhelmed. So Dean kind of, he fell back a little bit. So they were kind of showing this demographic of, is Dean going to split? Is he like the weak link? Is he going to just turn on them? So that was happening at this point, and this match was fantastic. One of the best multi-man matches of all time. Go watch this. On the March 3rd episode of Raw, the Shield lost a rematch against the Wyatt family when the Shield's poor teamwork led to Rollins walking out during the match. So Dean, in the first match, gone, left. Rollins in the second match, left. Crazy. But on the March 7th episode of SmackDown, the members of the Shield met in the ring to just clear the air and kind of figure out what was going on in the group. And Rollins explained that his actions achieved his purpose of getting Ambrose and Reigns to finally see eye to eye, which led to the trio ultimately getting back together. On the March 17th episode of Raw, the Shield turned face and feuded with Kane after refusing to assault Jerry Lawler. This whole segment was so fire, bro. I remember watching this as a kid. This was like the Total Divas era too, bro. Life was so good. They would also begin a feud with the New Age Outlaws, who was Road Dogg and Billy Gunn if you're not old, after they sided with Kane, culminating in a match at WrestleMania 30. It was pretty much a squash match, but it did everything it needed to do. And this WrestleMania was so good and the vibes were there. And I remember this so vividly. It was the Raw after WrestleMania. Triple H was attacking Daniel Bryan. They were having a match and they did a screw job. Triple H had the ref ring the bell. And then the Shield came out. The Shield was out there. Evolution was out there because Batista and Randy Orton just got back together and Triple H was there too. And it was havoc. So Triple H was on Triple H, Kane, Randy Orton, and Batista were on one side. And on the other side of the ring, you had the Shield. And Triple H was warning them. He was like, don't do this. We're not going to turn this into a war. We're not doing this tonight. He was trying to keep everybody cool, everybody civil. And just when you know it, boom, Roman Reigns hits the spear on Triple H, carnage everywhere. It was so perfect, man. But the match was set. Evolution versus the Shield. Two of the greatest factions of all time. At Extreme Rules, we were going to have it. Evolution versus the Shield. And what do you know? This match was a banger. The matches between Evolution and the Shield, honestly, I think were better than the Shield and the Wyatt family. They were just back and forth chaos. And I remember in this match, they would brawl backstage, in the crowd area. Triple H and Randy Orton would beat on Dean Ambrose. And from the stands at the top, Seth Rollins would hit a flying crossbody and lay everybody out. Yo, Shield Seth was one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna be honest. In ring wise, he was tough, bro. He was super fast paced. Every move looked efficient. He had the best move set, the buckle bomb, the curb stomp. Everything looked so clean. The Seth Walker too. Y'all remember that move. But that left two people in the ring, Batista and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was destined to get his revenge from the 2014 Royal Rumble, and he would hit Batista with a Superman punch and then the spear. 1, 2, 3. The Shield upped the score on Evolution. But Triple H was not going on like this. He was not having this. So the following night on Raw, Triple H forced Ambrose to defend the United States Championship in a 20-man battle royal without Reigns and Rollins being involved. So they were outside the ring, but they couldn't interfere in any way. But Dean would end up losing the title after he was last eliminated by Sheamus. And Evolution wasn't done. They wanted revenge. So at Payback, they would have a match. A no-holds-barred elimination match. And at Payback, Blue Tista was born. Yo, it wasn't even that bad, bro. People be hating for no reason. But Evolution's theme song, so good. It's honestly, it might be one of the most underrated songs, one of the best theme songs in wrestling history. Go listen to that joint, bro. You can listen to it right now. Shit, I'll wait. So I'll let you. Go ahead. And this match was physical and it was a brawl. as it should have been. They weren't going out for 5-star matches, no. They just wanted to kill each other. And that's how it should be in feuds like this. Because why would you just want to, like, grapple your opponent? No, hell, forget all that, bro. I don't care what Dave Meltzer says, the indie boys say. I don't care. Bro, this is how a match should be of this level. Like, you shouldn't just, oh, let me hit you with some stylish moves. No, I want to kill you. I want to take you out. I want to take you off the map, take you out back to the gulag, you know what I'm saying? They would bring out all types of weapons, go to the ramp and stuff, but Evolution had a good game plan. They wanted to take out Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, and they did exactly that. Evolution went to the ramp. They would pedigree Seth Rollins on a chair, hit a backdrop on the chair to Dean Ambrose. Like, they were taking them out, and it was a good plan. So after this, they went all to the ring, 3v1. Roman Reigns was the only guy left in the ring, and they surrounded him like vintage Shield. Roman was in no man's land. They would pull out the steel stabs and pull out kendo sticks, and they would tear his vest off and drag his lifeless body onto the steel steps, and they would start whipping him with canes like he was a piñata. He was about to spill out candy. But they were whipping him back and forth. It was kind of brutal. They would end up going back to the ramp, hitting Roman with steel chairs and kendo sticks, but Dean Ambrose would come back into the fray and break it up for a little bit, but they would take out Dean as well. Randy would hit Dean with his vintage DDT, draped over like a part on the stage, and Seth once again would come out, jump off the stage, and take everybody out for the second time. Seth was different, and that was a turning point in the match that the Shield needed. So Seth and Batista would battle back and go back to the ring. They would fight for a little bit. Batista tries to hit the Batista bomb, but Roman comes out of nowhere, hits him with a spear. Seth goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Batista is gone. He's eliminated. I feel so bad for Batista. This run was so bad for him. I was so hyped back as a kid when I saw like the graphic, oh, the animal's coming back. But he just got done dirty, bro. It's multiple times. I feel bad. He got booed by all the fans. Got treated like shit, but it's okay. Randy and Dean would come back into the ring as well. They'll be wrong for a little bit, but Dean would hit a dirty deeds to Randy on a chair. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. 2 people from Evolution are gone. So now it's a 3v1. The Shield versus Triple H. And this was when Triple H officially lost it. He was boiling. I'm pretty sure I saw steam coming out his ears. But he would do the dirtiest shit ever. He would low blow people. Batista and Randy would even come back into the match, hit him a sledgehammer. He would hit people with sledgehammers and shit. But it wasn't enough. Roman would hit the final spear on the game. 1, 2, 3. Clean sweep for the Shield. Crazy. It wasn't all peaches and cream though. But the following night on Raw, Triple H announced that he wanted to keep Evolution feuding with the Shield. But Batista had quit WWE and left Evolution. So later that night, with the Shield in the ring, Triple H said he had a plan B. He had a sledgehammer in his hand, and he had Randy with him, and the Shield was getting ready. So Seth Rollins would go outside the ring, and he would pick up a chair. And what happened next was tragic. And just in a matter of moments, we found out what plan B really was. When the Shield was at the highest, they just beat Evolution. Everything came crashing to the end when Seth Rollins would pick up a chair and hit Dean and hit Roman with it, turn his back on the Shield. This was like the saddest moment of my life, bro. Like, this gotta be up there with like people dying. Like I don't know. How do you? Nah, that's bad to say that, but like, this is like losing a pet, bro. I'm sorry, I gotta say it, bro.
Really miss my nigga.
But one of the most haunting pictures of all time. Seth Rollins standing with Triple H and Randy Orton over the Shield just looking down at them. And shout out to that one guy in the crowd that screamed no before Seth Rollins was about to hit Roman. He's like the real MVP. That made the moment so much better. But Seth Rollins officially joined the Authority. Looking back, I see why they did it, and it was probably for the best. But a lot of people probably thought Dean was going to turn or anything, but I think this might have been the best option. But what if Roman would have turned? That would have been pretty crazy. But what happened was, Seth got the most like interesting out of all of them. Dean was just a lunatic, and Roman got the same bullshit gimmick, and it haunted him for the rest of his career until the Tribal Chief. But it was a good idea. On the June 9th episode of Raw, Rollins would explain his actions. He said that his betrayal as severing a business relationship and that he had destroyed his own creation to further his own interests. Ambrose and Reigns were still labeled as a Shield at that point, and they addressed Rollins' betrayal, with Ambrose describing Rollins as a cancer in the Shield, while Reigns claimed that Rollins committed the most unforgivable sin. And damn near 10 years later, Roman got his payback. But later that night, Ambrose and Reigns had their final match as the Shield, teaming up with John Cena to defeat the Wyatt family. Dean and Roman were still cool, but they just went their separate ways. Dean was trying to get back and get his payback with Seth, and Roman was more focused on the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And now from here, it gets a little tricky, because their paths would cross so many different times, and they would have so many different matches with each other. So for the rest of 2014, Dean and Rollins would feud with each other, and going into 2015, Roman would kind of be like the biggest, most hated person like ever. And they would just keep feuding. And I just want to say, how have we never had a Shield triple threat at WrestleMania? We had a Shield triple threat, but it was that Battleground. And to be honest, I don't even remember that match. I don't know if it was good or not. And then at Money in the Bank 2016, they all held the title at the same night, which is really cool to be honest. But I'm surprised that like 3 of the biggest stars of the last decade just never had a triple threat at WrestleMania. That would have been crazy. But in 2017, the Shield would kind of reunite. See, but it was just Seth and Ambrose this time. So what happened was, Cesaro and Sheamus were the Raw Tag Team Champions, and Cesaro and Sheamus kept pummeling and attacking Seth Rollins, so Dean Ambrose would come out and make the save. And the next time, Dean Ambrose would get attacked, but then Seth Rollins would come to the save. But Dean kept telling him, he was like, bro, I don't trust you. I'm not going to do this again. Like, we're not going down that path. But they would eventually go down that path. And at SummerSlam, Rollins and Ambrose would defeat The Bar at SummerSlam, winning the tag team titles. And yo, The Bar was tight. I'm not gonna lie. Cesaro and Sheamus, they had a cool little demographic going on. At No Mercy, Ambrose and Rollins made their first successful title defense in a rematch against The Bar. And then Ambrose and Rollins reunited with Roman, who had a feud with The Miz. On the October 9th episode of Raw, Miz opened up the show with Cesaro and Sheamus, but they were interrupted by The Shield, who attacked the trio, leading to a 6-man TLC match between The Shield and a team of The Bar and The Miz at TLC. But later, Braun Strowman and Kane were added to the match as part of The Miz's team, but however, Roman would get put out of the match due to an illness, and Kurt Angle would take his place. I don't know who decided this, but it was actually pretty cool. The Shield and Kurt Angle would have a match together. That's insane. At the TLC event, Ambrose, Rollins, and Angle had a pretty fun match against the whole squad, and it was pretty cool. They did like a bunch of table spots. They went to the ramp. They did a bunch of cool stuff. But yeah, the Shield will go on to beat Miz's team because they couldn't work together for Jack Squaw. On the November 6th episode of Raw, Ambrose and Rollins would lose his tag titles back to Sheamus and Cesaro because the New Day would cause a distraction, leading to a match with the New Day and the Shield at Survivor Series. The Shield would end up picking up the win, and I'm going to be dead honest, I had no idea this ever happened, so I can't even put y'all on or give y'all a good review for this match. I have no clue what happened. But, I mean, it seemed like it was probably a pretty good match. The Shield 6-man tags always hit, but I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I can't put y'all on right now. I can't give y'all a rating. After this, Roman Reigns would end up winning the IC title, but the next month, Dean Ambrose would get a legitimate injury and be written off for like 6-7 months. So I think God was just sending warning shots out here because when they first reunited again, Roman got sick and now Dean got injured. So I think it was just a warning shot telling them to not reunite them again. In January of 2018, Roman would lose the title back to The Miz, and at WrestleMania 34, Seth would get it back in blood after defeating The Miz and Finn Balor in a triple threat for the IC title, which was probably the match of the night, to be honest. That and the 2v2 between Ronda, Kurt, Triple H, and Steph. That match was a banger, I'm not gonna lie. In August of 2018, Ambrose returned from his injury and reunited with Rollins during his feud with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. Rollins later regained the IC title from Ziggler, while Reigns won the Universal Championship from Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. On the August 20th episode of Raw, Reigns retained the Universal Championship against Finn Balor, with after the match, Braun Strowman attempted to cash in the Money in the Bank contract. However, Rollins and Ambrose would make the save, preventing him from cashing in and putting him through the announce table with a triple power bomb. At the WWE Super Showdown, that shitty ass name, the Shield would face Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre in a 3v3, where the Shield was victorious. On the October 22nd episode of Raw, one day after my birthday by the way, Roman relinquished his Universal title due to leukemia coming back, and later that night, Ambrose would get it back in blood after he attacked Rollins after they won the Raw Tag Team Championships. And this was a crazy sight. Dean finally got his payback 4 years later. And you can't even be mad at him because, like, the Sid is a scumbag. But in January, WWE confirmed that Ambrose had declined to renew his contract, and they all knew his time was coming up. But they would just kind of, like, come back randomly. And this was such a bad time for WWE, bro. Like, they really fumbled Dean Ambrose. How you do that, bro? But the Shield would come back together, and they would have one final match, and it would be at the Shield's final chapter, which was a WWE Network special event. And the main event, the Shield defeated Corbin, Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. What a shitty team. But this was Ambrose's last match in WWE. And after this, everybody knows what happened. Dean Ambrose would go on to go to AEW, and honestly, he hasn't been back ever since, which is kind of sad. But he would be a AEW champion. He would be a main star on that company. And also, while that was happening, in WWE, Roman Reigns would have a complete renaissance as the Tribal Chief, holding 2 world titles, and Seth would also become the Drip God and have 2 world titles himself after that. So honestly, one of the most decorated and dangerous groups in wrestling history. In my opinion, probably my favorite faction in wrestling history, my favorite like trio in wrestling history. But there was just something different about this time, something special about them. The way they came up, just they didn't care about anybody. They were way better than the Nexus because there's only 3 of them and they were all top stars. Like the Nexus, they had some jabroni jobbers. Like nobody really cared about any of them after that. But after the Shield, they went on to be some of the best wrestlers ever and some of the best of the decade. And it was just a special time, man. But you knew when they were about to come out, shit was going to go down. And the 2017 stuff, I don't really count it that much. I really just count like the 2014, 2013, 2012 stuff. But at the end of the day, the Shield is one of the best groups of all time. They have all been world champions. There was just something special about this pairing. Like you could tell they were all like best friends probably. But yeah, man, there it is. I'm going to get my random out the way. But let me know what y'all think about the Shield. And I had this debate to this day, bro. I want to know, who are y'all favorite members? Like, who's number 1, 2, and 3? Because, all right, in the Shield, I'm going to say Dean was number 1, Roman was number 2, and Seth was number 3. But, like, after the Shield, I'm going to say it was Roman number 1, Seth number 2, and Dean number 3, I think. What I would put? I don't know. But this is the big 3 of the WWE. Like, Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, this is the big 3 for them. But let me know what y'all think, man. Actually, now that I think about it, I think Dean is J. Cole, Seth is Kendrick, and Roman is Drake. Is that a good pair? Yeah. I don't know, but let me know what y'all think about this video, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all, man. But I'm out. See ya. Peace.